All right, folks. Good evening. You are now tuned into Team Money Cycles SOS Talk. And we're going to give a couple people to jump on this live, and then we're going to just dive right into the topic of discussion for tonight. And I got a special guest that's going to come on. So we'll just get this thing started in just a few minutes. For those of you who are tuning in for the first time to this TMC Live, every Monday, what we do is we jump on here, and we talk about a bunch of different topics uh, focused on motorcycle audio and custom motorcycles. So we have a pretty interesting topic this week. If you look at the bottom of the screen, today's topic on TMC Rhythm and Rides is tuning versus tweaking. And this is in relations to like part 2 of a post that we did earlier this week, just focused on, is there a difference, or what is the difference between tuning your motorcycle sound system and just tweaking it? So I'm going to go ahead and get this thing going. I'm gonna bring my guest on. So for those of you who don't know this never had the pleasure of meeting this young man that I just brought onto the screen, his name is Gio. Matter of fact, you introduce yourself.
My name is Gio. I'm from owner of Cartel Baggers in New Jersey. I'm fairly new to the audio game. Uh, we do big builds. The audio has been what's new to us, but it's a journey, and we're having fun while doing it.
So for those of you who didn't hear, he's Gio Carpio from Cartel Baggers, located in Roselle, New Jersey. So if you're looking to get a custom bagger built, go up and check my man Gio and his crew out. And I was glad that I spoke with Gio today in terms of doing this live, because he is I'll say he's in his sophomore year of motorcycle audio, and he's going to just touch on some of the hurdles and goals that he accomplished in doing motorcycle audio. But Gio, give me a couple minutes before we dive into Gio. Let me just set the foundation for this. So when I put up the term tweaking versus tuning, I think a lot of people, from the feedback I was getting offline, was this was to call individuals out and highlight shops' strengths and weaknesses and who could not tune that well and whatnot. And that's really not it. I think that there's a big difference between tuning a system and tweaking it. And the best way I could break it down for me and for others to maybe like this definition that I have is, when you're tweaking the system, and Gio, you may agree with this, whether you're a shop, whether you're a garage builder, whether you're a car audio turned motorcycle audio guy, when you run the wires, get your battery set up, get everything dialed in, when you turn that ignition switch for the first time and you see all your amps are lit up, so you know that your grounds and all are good, and you get some music to play out of the bike, you're in the tweaking stage at that point. And some people can't make it out of that tweaking stage to become a tuner. I think tuning is an art. I think when you're tuning, to have the ability to get into the DSP, and I'm just going to throw this picture up real quick. These are some of the tools that are being used now. So whether you're using the DSR1 up in the top left, if you're using something similar to an auto control DM810, if you're using the Ground Zero, or if you're using the which is one of my favorites, the JL Tweak 88, they each come with a learning curve. And many of us, myself included, each time I log into the computer and I get on a Tweak 88 or say a Ground Zero DSP, I'm always learning something new. And if you are a new builder, or if you are a motorcycle audio builder in particular, who does not have their hands on doing a bunch of motorcycle audio builds and a lot of experience with them, you are going to be in a tweaking stage, like all of us, up until a certain point. If you're a garage builder and you don't have a lot of experience in dealing with the different DSPs and equalization and understanding how the things work, you're tweaking. When you become a tuner, you actually become an artist. And that great build that shop may have put together, or that garage builder may have put together, and they just can't get out that tweaking phase, you as a seasoned tuner are able to take that canvas that they provided you with and go into the EQ and the DSP, and each of those band frequencies on that graphic equalizer, and shape them to become ultimately art. This is intimidating for a lot of people. Can you see that, Gio?
Yeah, I see it.
So for a guy looking at that for the first time, plugging up a DSP and that pops up on your screen, I don't care if you're the most best bike builder or best garage builder in the world, that's intimidating. So before I go further in it, you've had your tweaking days, and I'm now, you got a guru who you call, I won't say his name on here. Well, I'm gonna say his name. You have the luxury of having a guy like Ed Rock,
absolutely,
at your reach, that you can call and ask him certain questions and allow him to mentor. Listen, Ed Rock he an OG in the game. Just tell me what you think the difference is as you go along in this motorcycle audio, and you're learning and doing builds.
I mean, like we've had previous conversations about this. At the beginning stage, I'll go back to what I will always say 2 years ago when we was in Daytona. Like you said earlier, we could put wiring together. You could, the ohms, correct ohms on the amplifiers, set up a DSP, but that will give you something what you're referring to is just tweaking. We're tweaking the system to sound pleasurable. So that's what we were doing 2 years ago. And like you said, I have the luxury of having somebody like Ed Rock, and even how many times we've been on the phone 2, 3 in the morning trying to set something up, making sure something sounds right, with yourself. That is improvement. You're always going to have room for improvement. You're learning, you're always going to learn to get to the stage where you're a tuner and when you're able to sit down and tune certain speakers. So it's not really something that you could just wake up and do and say like, yeah, I could tune. I know what to play. Yeah, but something like having an ear is more important than having tools that tell you, yeah, what you're supposed to do. Play this at this frequency. Do say your curves over here. Not always is gonna work like like it's supposed to, because this is a different world when it comes to motorcycle audio.
I agree with you. Alex Hayes, from Alex Hayes Tuning, he did some great webinars. I had a opportunity to sit in on a couple of them and just talk with him, and Brad Ball from down in I think Brad is in Mississippi, and the Ed Rocks and Joey Hensley's, and just talking to the different guys who tune, Dorian Thomas, different guys who tune, Andy Anderson Morgan. I don't want to forget any of these. I call them some of the best in the industry guys who I talk to, and we all have our own characteristics when it comes to tuning. You can get to some bikes. I can listen to a bike and kind of say, all right, that sounds like a Dan bike, or that has a Troy Milner flavor to it, or Andy Morgan. Like, it was 3 bikes in the ring this past weekend. You had the bike you guys built, Andres LeBron, Cartel Baggers bike, Sergeant Slaughter. You had
Brad's bike.
You had Brad Small, Redbone, his bike that I think they call that bike is called Redbone, and you had Moody from Connecticut. 3 different bikes, 3 different builders, 3 different speakers. What was it? Sound Digital? Wait, I'm sorry. Ground Zero,
PRV, and Bema.
So we had 3 bikes. You had Andres has Bema, correct?
Yeah.
Brad has PRV, and you had Moody that has Bama. Excuse me,
No, I think Ground
Ground
Zero.
Zero.
Yeah.
Ground Zero. Tuned by 3 great tuners: Anderson Morgan, Bagger Boys, Joey Hensley, Backyard Baggers, and Cartel Baggers / I know Ed Rock was involved in that build as well. And to hear 3 bikes with 3 different types of speakers, and may I add, all 3 of the speakers have different, in my opinion, tonal characteristics. I always think that PRV has PRV and Ground Zero have a warmer tone to me than a Bama speaker. I think Bama is a little bit on a brighter end. I like a bright sound. However, it can be, if I could take some of the characteristics of the warmness from some speakers and add it to others, if I can make the perfect speaker, those are an example of 3 speakers that if you take characteristics from each one. But I say that to say they all were equally tuned great. Did they all sound the same? No. And we all will agree that tuning and being able to judge all this stuff is subjective. But it came down to who was going to make a mistake, because they were all equally good across the board. But that was a result of what? 3 very good tuners all putting their hands on those canvases and creating art. And that's what tuning to me really is. It's really, I read an article by a guy Bob McCarthy, and although it focuses on sound engineering for, like concert venues and things like that, he said something that made a lot of sense. He said you have tuning and you have toning, and they have to meet somewhere. So what I call tweaking is more or less what he calls tuning. Whether you're using the as you spoke of, the RTAs and things like that, to make sure that the speakers, what he's talking about is making sure the speakers sound correct from each chair in the house. And then you get into the toning, which is, he said, which is an art. It's subjective. One engineer is going to tone the system one way, and the other engineer may do something different. But we may end up at the same place, which is a pleasurable sound, a competitive sound. I met you down Daytona. Well, I knew you, but you and I hooked up down Daytona 2 years ago, and you pulled me to the side. You remember that?
Yeah.
You were excited. I don't know if that was like one of your guys' first full builds or first audio builds.
Yeah.
And you were smiling, and you were like, "Yo, I really want you to listen to this system and tell me what you think." You remember that?
Yeah.
Tell the people how that went.
It went with a nice. I'm gonna tell you what he really meant to say. He meant to say, like, "Yo, this shit sounds terrible," but you said it in a nice way. But I think as an individual, you take constructive criticism a certain way. You have to know that, all right, this is not your field, but you take the criticism and you improve. And but hey, man, like we talk about, I talk about that day all the time, because that I went back to the hotel room. I'm like, nah, hell no, I gotta learn. I gotta figure this out, because just as it's just part of who I am as a person. I was like, nah, I need to get this right.
It was. I laugh now, and you get people that come up when you go to these shows, or if you at a bike rally. People tune in, they watch, they follow the series, they follow TMC. So you get hey, listen to my system and tell me what you think. Mm-hmm. And my thing is, like, we bust each other's chops in here. We have a lot of fun, but ultimately the goal is to educate and to encourage everyone. Absolutely. So even with you saying, how does this sound? I was listening to it, and overall, to me, it didn't sound pleasurable. Mm-hmm. But I was able to pull some characteristics out of the mix of what you had there and say, hey, listen, Gio, you got some things you got to work on. I like what you did right here. However, you got to go back to the drawing board and do X, Y, and Z. This is what I think you should do. This is where you should start. And the next time I saw you, you were in your slingshot up in New Jersey at Design Works.
Yeah.
Your whole confidence and I'm gonna say your audio swag had totally changed. So you pulled up on you was like, yo, like your voice, put some bass in your voice. You like, yo, come over here. Check this out. What you think about this? And I'm like, okay, young fella, all right, somebody been in the lab, but you took the constructive criticism. You came to shows, you listened, you looked at the bikes that were built by the BYBs and the Bagger boys, and you were humble about it, and you went back and you perfected, or I'll say you worked on your craft. And I'll tell you, I'll probably have tuned my bike Miss Autumn over 150 times. Ed Rock and I, we hooked up about 3 weeks ago. He came to Philly, and I had the DSP plugged in. It might have been a little longer than that now. I think about it, but and I had the computer on the bike, and I'm like, yo, this bike is like my Achilles tendon. I'm playing with these vocals on this lightweight, and he said, yo, try these frequency curves, and I got my recipe that I like. And then he said, yo, put these Spanish songs on. And he gave me a little trick. I ain't going to put the trick out there, but he gave me a little tuning tip with some of these different Spanish songs in the frequencies that I was trying to pull out and see where they were. Those particular songs highlighted those frequencies. So I Shazam the songs that he played and add them to my playlist. I don't know if he know, but they're definitely in my tune. They're in my tune and playlist. But that things like that will only sharpen you. So I tell all the garage guys that are trying to do it at home, even the shops who are doing audio, tuning will humble you. Tuning a motorcycle will definitely humble you, and you have to touch them. You got to play music in order to become a good tuner. Plain and simple. You can't just build a bike, play 5 songs that you hear at the SOS or parking lot pimping, and say you're a tuner. You know, these guys who are becoming great tuners are playing hundreds of songs. How many hours you think you guys got in Sergeant Slaughter?
Bro, I like if I break it down, we got at least close to 50 to 60 hours in tuning in that, and that's putting 3-4 hours a day. But yo, it's so much that your ear could take too. You can't sit there and pound your ear for 10 hours. You know, there gets to a point where you're like, all right, man, I had enough for the day. I'll come back tomorrow and retry. But you know, bikes like that are not built overnight, and definitely not with the tuning. Tuning takes a while, you know, to get it perfect.
And let me tell you, it's okay to tune. It's okay to listen. It's okay to just listen to music on a system. Everybody think that when you tune in a bike, you got to go balls to the wall and crank it all the way up to 35 for 3 hours to get a good mix. Sometimes you got to turn the music down so you can think. Part of tuning is thinking. It's like decorating the cake. The cake is built. If Gio, say you build a bike, you build an audio system, and you're just getting the audio. You're a shop, boom. Just use it for example. And you take it to a tuner. Long as the polarity is right, long as I know that the ground and everything is cool, sometimes you just got to turn it on and slowly walk into the tune. See what the speakers like. See what they don't like. Know the speakers that you're with. Like you're used to tuning Bama, but now you're dealing with Ground Zero. Ground Zero has some characteristics, some just its own identity and tones. Stop trying to make that Ground Zero speaker do what, that Bama or that PRV or that Euphoria or whatever you're using. You gotta get with that speaker and listen, right? And then here's another thing that intimidates people. This right here. You buy a DSP. This by the way, here's a plug for Ground Zero. This is the Ground Zero screen for the Ground Zero DSP. Great DSP. But you get this. Let me take something down real quick so we can see this. So you have this on the screen in front of you. You have all these EQ bands, and this can be very intimidating. Then you got to set all the crossover points and things like that. This is my advice to people. When you get some speakers, and I'm gonna just this is something that works for me. Those are 31 people that are trying to hang out together. If that's a 31 band EQ, I didn't count them, but just we're going to say this is a 31 band parametric EQ, band EQ up here. That's 31 people trying to fight for some attention. All right, look at that EQ. Now that's intimidating. Forget about the time alignment and all that stuff at the top. Let's just look at those sliders at the bottom. That's 31 people, 31 different identities. Each frequency has its own identity. All right, let me just take this down for a minute so I can look at the people while I'm explaining this. But in your EQ, you got 31 identities. You got 31 people trying. Just imagine 31 people in a room all trying to sing a song. You got your bass, you got your sopranos, you got your altos, you got your tenors. Then you got the band, you got the drummer. The drummer has the bass guitar. The bass drum, the snare, the cymbals. All of that one instrument that has many different drums and all, each plays a role in that 31 band EQ. All right. Then you got the singers. They each have a tone, a vocal tone. Then you got the saxophone player. So you're trying to marry all these different tones together. Understand? You've been there. When you play a track, you got to pull those tones out and see which each one can do, what the speakers can handle. You know what I mean? And somebody said in the crossovers, thanks for the correction of graphic. Yeah. Somebody said the crossovers are the conductors. Yeah. The crossovers are meant to keep you in due bounds, to keep everything in. Hey, you guys stay in this lane. Tweeters, y'all stay in this lane. Mids, you stay in this lane. Subs, you stay in this lane. But even within the crossovers, if you're a good tuner, you can grab a frequency out of your crossover range and manipulate it in a way to do things that you needed to do. I'm not going to get into that. I'm not here to give out all the tricks of the trade. And if you don't know how to do it, you can mess things up. But somebody said crossover points, and I can't see the names. You guys got to give it access. Give us access so we can see who's commenting. Somebody said crossover points are super important, especially the slope. Yeah, crossovers and slopes are important, but I will tell you what I've learned in this motorcycle audio, because the atmospheres in which we play in is so different, and just nothing to me in motorcycle. I'm not going to say nothing. A lot of this stuff in motorcycle audio, normal ideologies of this sound stuff seem like it goes out the window, because we're competing and playing in so many different type of atmospheres that if you go by crossover points that you see on the box, and I hope no manufacturer get pissed off while I'm saying that, I'm going to say the word recommendation when it comes to motorcycle audio. It should be recommended in normal applications, because I throw a lot of those numbers out the window when I'm setting up crossover points. I don't know about you, Gio.
Yeah, there's a lot of if you follow the instructions on certain of these boxes and the instructions or the specs that they give you the speaker, you're actually losing a lot of capability of the speaker. There's some speakers that play some nice mid bass, and there's some other speakers that can't handle the mid bass. But it don't tell you in the spec form and the spec sheets that this will handle the 250 hertz, the 125 hertz. But some speakers do. So that's where I think where it's a big thing with tuning, because you're comfortable with the speaker, the speaker, and its capabilities. So that's when you're able to take a certain speaker and make it sound great because of what your abilities are.
So I'm reading this comment from Chris Mr. Wonderful. It says, yes, Ricky, you can manipulate the frequencies with the crossovers, and it affects the power handling and sound overall. So are you saying that by manipulating the frequencies with the crossover, it's taken away from the overall sound. Like it's not a good thing to do. That's Chris, because I think that if you know how to do it, it's not going to take away. It's like anything else. It's all in who the tuner is. Mm-hmm. Like we said earlier, tuning is an art. So all the good tuners on here has some kind of trick of the trade that they're doing. You and I, Gio, can have the same identical bike with the same identical setup. And what are you running? I'm running a 6.5, the Bama 6G and D40s. What are you running? I'm running 6G and D40s too. And I know you run 6G and D40s. But I can listen to your 6G and D40s and be like, oh no, on that mix, he focused. All right, he must have dropped those down to he dropped them down to 150. Another guy might be running them at 250. You might be 150, 6,500. Another guy might 250 them, 7,500, running them out the back door. But it works for them. You know what I mean? You're off a little bit on the crossover points. Who's wrong? Who's right? You can listen to those bikes and see 7,500 running them. Tell somebody to turn their tell your brother to turn his phone down.
Yeah. I told him. You know what I mean? Yeah, echo. Yeah.
So I don't know, Chris. If you know what you're doing, if you know how to manipulate the manipulation, Chris, you can pull it off. I'm just getting to these. I'm like, Chris, I'm about to mess with Chris, Mr. Wonderful. Chris won one little featherweight battle. He writing these dissertations on here. Now I'm just messing with you, Chris. Good good stuff. I'm saying it's a double-edged sword with the frequency manipulation. What is good for one tuner bike might not be the best for another tuner and bike. That is what I mean. Absolutely.
Yeah, 100%.
If you don't know what his recipe is, and you go listen, I've heard people tell people certain things, and we stand around talking about, oh, what you running? And what they telling them they running and what they got stuff crossed out on, I'm like, this is like racing. Like, he's lying. That is not what's in that bike. That is not how he has that tune. And then the person walks away and it's like, darn well I ain't telling him what Gio, you want to tell me what you got in Sergeant Slaughter?
No. I'll tell you. I'll tell you what I want you to think I got in Sergeant Slaughter. And
say that again.
I will tell you what I will want everybody to think, but I think it's like we said earlier. I could tell you what's a Sergeant Slaughter, but for you to get that sound in Sergeant Slaughter, you might be able to get it better, or you might not even be able to reach the level of Sergeant Slaughter because it falls down on the tuner. But a lot of people are real secretive about, oh no, what did I use? I mean, I'm a Bema guy. Ground Zero, I'm getting a little bit more comfortable with, and PRV is I use it a lot too. But my speaker to go to is Bema. I got more comfortable with it. I've used it a lot, and I know what it could do. But that's what I'm known for. So everybody that really knows, oh, what bike came out of Cartel is usually a Bema bike, or a Slingshot is a Bema, is full Bema, and it all falls on what exactly you're trying to achieve. In as a tuner too as well. Some tuners probably could out-tune me with no problem, but the sauce that we have with Sergeant Slaughter, I tell you that, like, you'd be surprised what it got for bass, and it really don't got too much, but it plays really well.
I know what it has for bass. Yeah, a little birdie told me about the secret weapon Cartel bagger.
The Cartel sub.
I know what the Cartel sub is, and I'm gonna be honest with you. It would not have been on my. It wouldn't have been my first, second, third, or fourth choice. I'll just say that. And before I believe what it is y'all using, I hear what y'all are using. I want to see it with my own. I gotta look in there and be like, damn, that's what's doing that. Because I might go get me two of them.
Yeah, you'd be surprised, man. You'd be surprised. And like just with the whole base theory, like I'm talking to certain individuals. Like even like Ed Rock, right? He's drilled in my head is like, bro, bass is acquired with everything correct. When you have the correct airspace, the correct port, the correct enclosure, you're gonna get good bass. Putting two tens in a bag and expecting crazy bass is sometimes the worst thing you could do if you don't have the correct airspace, you don't have the correct port. So all that is like, it's a lot of stuff that you have to take in consideration to get a certain sound. It's not like, let me stick a speaker here because I know it's gonna work. Sometimes that's the worst thing you could do because the speaker might not even handle a certain thing. But for the most part, it's a lot more than just let me use what's a certain speaker. Let me use Beamer because Beamer it's an expensive speaker. It's winning all competitions. No, but you put it in a certain enclosure, you put it in a certain area of your bike, you might lose sound on the speaker in general.
I don't care if you have Bama, PRV, Ground Zero, whatever. If it is not tuned properly, you ain't got a snowball chance of winning nothing. Whether it's a
Absolutely.
parking lot pimping, you ain't gonna win going to the grocery store or going to the local bike night because you're going to be frustrated. The win is, and I'm gonna get a little off and back on. The win with motorcycle audio when you get your system done, the win is you have won when you get on your bike and you're riding to your destination or you're riding your bike to work or on a highway, wherever, and you making it through a good 10 to 15, 20 songs and you smiling the whole time. That's the win. Now that minute and a half you get when you get in the ring, that's a totally different animal. But you're winning. If you play 100 songs on your bike, I can tell you, I don't care who tuned it. The tuning gods can have came down. Yet the best of the best tuners, I guarantee you, your bike is not going to play 100 random songs to your liking.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm happy if I could play 85 or 90. Because there's just some songs that, and I'm not talking about you getting a hundred songs, a set playlist. I'm talking about we sat there and we ran through 100 songs. There are some songs that just weren't recorded good, or they just don't play on your bike good. It's not. That's why we make playlists, because we select songs that we think are going with the way our bike is tuned. So people say, "Oh, my bike can play anything." Yeah, for the most part, yeah. You would like to think at normal volumes your bike can play anything, but let's all be realistic. When you crank it up and you really getting into it, your bike is not going to be able to play 100 songs without any flaws. I consider myself a fairly good tuner. I'm being modest. I can't guarantee you that every song that you play is going to sound good. You might play one I'm like, no, Gio, don't you ever play that song unless you playing that at low volume and you just want to sing it to yourself. The bike don't like that song.
Mm-hmm.
It just doesn't like it. Here's a guy that I wish would have got on here tonight. I would like to hear from him. It ain't too late. Hey, Smitty, you want to come on here, Smitty? I would love to hear from you. So what you think, Ed Rock? What's your advice?
What's the best advice I ever gave Sergeant Slaughter if he's listening in this live? To get rid of that Keisha Cole he liked playing so much. That sounds terrible on his bike, and he don't listen. So maybe somebody else could give him that advice so he could take it out his playlist.
What song was that?
Man, I don't even know. I don't even know which one. I don't even know the title to it because it don't even sound good on that song, on that bike. I mean,
Keisha. Wait, are you talking about that song "Love"?
I'm not sure, man. I mean, probably because he loved that song. That's what he played all the time.
Is it slow?
Yeah, a little slow.
I used to think that I wasn't wise enough.
No, it's not that one.
It coming with the guitar at the beginning.
Yeah, and then they got bass, a little bit of bass. It's decent.
I'm not gonna sing it. She has a song that comes on. I used to think that I wasn't. I don't know. I used to
Man,
think I wasn't,
can't
but it got
remember that
it got.
song, man.
Cause I was gonna tell you that was my tuning song back in 2016. That Keisha Cole song, that thing right there, it got a real prominent guitar intro, and then it dropped. I don't know.
Nah, no, not on that bike. I'll be completely honest. I'll be sitting here. I'm the only one that like, yo, man, throw that out, throw that out.
Hey, I got stay right there where you are. I got Smitty coming on.
All
Smitty, if
right.
you can hear me, you gotta have. He needs to have some headphones. Hold on, let me see if we can get somebody from the slingshot community on. Smitty, you have on headphones?
Yeah, I got headphones, man.
All
Let me
right.
turn this.
So Smitty, just to everybody, this is Smitty from he is a slingshot owner, but Smitty is the guy that is building and tuning and really pretty much running over a lot of the slingshots in the slingshot community. So we're talking about tuning versus tweaking, Smitty. What's your take on it? I see you were on here, you were listening. What's your take on it?
I mean, I feel like I just be tweaking. Well, to be perfectly honest, because I've sat in front of an RTA and I've sat in front of all that, and I've watched other people do it. And then when you hear the end product, sometimes you're left with a little bit. You're left wanting more. 90% of the time, after you just do a you're doing straight up off a computer. I was actually telling a guy today. He came out. I'm not gonna say a shop, but he came out. He was like, "Man, my bike just super flat." I was like, "Bring it here." Sometimes you just gotta have somebody with a different type of ear to hear it. You know what I mean? I know for a long time, slingshots. We went from 6.5s to base. You know what I mean? That was literally how our systems were set up. And
Mm-hmm.
so now that when you get somebody like myself that understands that it's a 3-part system, you gotta have you gotta have highs, you gotta have mid, and you gotta have base. And once you can tie all that together, you know what I mean? It's a lot of people that can't tie it all together. So,
You're saying now. Let me ask you a question. Do you tune your slingshot? Is your slingshot your own build?
my personal build, yeah, probably got a million hours. I might get off work, like you said, I get off work at 2 o'clock, jump in a slingshot, drive to a parking lot, and I'll sit there and play, 100 different songs. Anytime somebody asks me like, "Well, what do you start with, man?" I mean, nobody might not like it, but I start with Morning BJ. Everybody hates it, you know what I'm saying? It's been beat to death. But the truth of the matter is, once you get your mids right in Morning BJ, you can kind of walk into vocals, and you can walk into your bass, going smooth out your bass. So I mean, I'm sure I do it completely different than anybody else. But yeah, I'm sure I probably consider myself just a really really good tweaker.
You're no. I'm gonna I'm gonna tell you. Now you're a tuner. I've talked to you. I've watched you. I've watched the evolution of your slingshot from. You got a similar Geo story. I met Smitty. Smitty, where I meet you at? Down in Virginia?
Yeah.
Hey, Gio, don't feel bad. It's just not you. And listen to me. I'm not like the tuning guru or anything. Like, I'm very humble. I talk to these guys and I'll tell everybody, this is just my opinion on how I do it. So Smitty had his slingshot, and one thing, Smitty got heart. Smitty was willing to go up against anybody, and some of them, Smitty, you ain't had no business swinging on some of them bikes you were swinging on that day.
Hey
So
man.
Smitty pulled me to the side. Same question you. Hey man, what you think I'm missing, man? What you think? I said, what you missing? What you got in there, Smitty? You're missing a lot. You're missing everything. What you missing? I said, you got 4 speakers. What you had? 4 speakers at the time in this, Smitty?
4 6.5. Yep. 4
Smitty,
6.5 and a
Gio,
10.
the man gonna come ask me what you think I'm missing, and I gotta like look at him and give him a TMC Ricky Will play. I wanted to give him a Philly slick answer like, what you
Yo,
missing is
he gives it to you nice, like
Real
he gives
sweet.
yeah.
Hey,
when
listen,
you
man.
get yourself
I
together.
still got my participation trophy.
No, you
Oh,
don't.
Bullshit.
There you
Yeah.
go. Look. that right there. That I gave him the team money cycle pick of the day. But I'm gonna tell you why he got that. All jokes aside, the man came with 4 6.5s and 110. He was outgunned, but for what he had, it was tuned to the best of what it was tuned to the best capability of what he came to the gun. Now he came outgunned, But I had to give him props for like, yo, if you take this foundation of what you have and you take it to the next level, but take these same characteristics that you have here, you're gonna be dangerous. And a year later, he's dangerous. Point blank. Like we joke around, but it's like it's not about like if I can't encourage you and bust your stones,
Right.
like the stone busting is the camaraderie of it. Like, listen, dog, you short,
Yes,
but
sir.
this is what I think you should do. Both of you guys had some good characteristics when I heard the builds, but I'm like, you want to hone on this. Why don't you try X, Y, and Z? And both of y'all just took it to another level. So, you know, I'm like, I'm not saying it like I'm the old head, but like I'm proud to be able to witness the growth of both of y'all in a year. Both of y'all in y'all sophomore year of this slingshot and motorcycle audio, and y'all killing it. Like, so I'm gonna just tell y'all
Appreciate it, bro.
publicly, I
Appreciate that.
salute both of
Appreciate
y'all.
that.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Smitty is now when I go on the slingshot page, audio pages, I don't even say anything. Like, I'll slide in, I might hit the like button. I read everything. This first of all, the slingshot guys, they got about 7 different pages. It must be when one person in slingshot world get pissed off, they go
They
start a
open a new
Facebook page. Because I don't even own a slingshot. I'm on about 7 audio pages, but I see Smitty on there imparting wisdom to people. You know, Smitty give tough love. I will say that. But at the end of the day, he's respected in the sling community because he's constantly, and you make people think, Smitty, like you throw stuff out there, and I know what you're doing. Like you're making people talk, you're making them get engaged. And
right.
that's good because they're learning. And that's really what this whole thing is about. It ain't about what shop can't, it's not about trying to highlight a weakness of a shop, of a builder, of a garage guy. We could bust each other's stones, but at the end of the day, you got to give credit where credit is due and try to just push the whole industry. That's my opinion on it all.
Absolutely.
That's my opinion on it all.
We're
But
so
listen,
young, man. You know how that goes. When everybody thinks they're doing it right, but realistically, man, your ear. When it comes to tuning, it's all about that person's ear. I've been watching for a minute now. You said you can hand somebody the same tools, and by the time the person finished tuning it, you have 2 completely different sounds that might be like you said, some are warmer, some are. You got certain parts of music that are just really highlighted. Like that person, you can tell when a person chased. You know what I mean? You can tell when
man,
you're listening to it. Like you can absolutely, like I mean, you guys might not know the bike, but I love Rube's bike because Rube's bike top end is so motherfucking, excuse my language, phenomenal. But there's no other way to describe the top end on that bike. You know what I mean? And for it to all be inside. So like I bust Rube. I'm always on Rube. Like, come on, man, push it, get it done, get it done, get it done. But then when he shows up, he always shows up with the little engine that could. Because I'm telling you, that bike's top end is insane.
let me tell you something. I slept on Rube when I battled him in Atlantic City. Like Rube taught me a very valuable lesson. I went in there because listen, I remember Rube. Gio, I remember when Rube was like a pup too, like you, like he was a pup in the game. So he came in, we pulled them face to face in Atlantic City, and I'm like, you know, in the audio world, this
Yeah.
my young boy. Like, come on, stop playing with me, Rube. Man, Rube bust me in my head, cuz. First of all, I brought you the first one that I pulled into the ring. I pulled the Vanderhall in. Something the power it wasn't coming on, so I backed that one out, and we had a slingshot. I just knew, like I knew what Rube got. I'm like, oh, I got him covered. But I got arrogant. I played a song that is good in the bagger world. I played a William Sing song. Rube dropped that Keith Sweat on me, and when that high note hit, like that 12.5K note
Yes, sir.
hit like that sprinkle, as soon as that hit before the bass drop, I knew I was done. Like I could have just set in the slingshot and just started up and been ready to pull out. He killed me, bro. Killed me. I'm like, damn. Rube slingshot is right. Did you do that, or did you build that one, Gio?
No, he put it together. I tuned it. I just gave
Okay.
him everything he needed, and because he's good with the slingshot, man. I'm gonna be honest. He's one of the reasons I got a slingshot. He drilled me in my head. Get a slingshot. Get a slingshot. I'm like, bro, I don't see myself with no slingshot. And bro, man, slingshots are fun, man. Between the bags and the slingshots is both fun.
If they can get the slingshot seat to go back 2.5 to 3 inches more, I would have one. My knees be bent up, man. My back, listen, man. I can't do it, man. I want one. I just can't. That's another story.
Then I think
that's another story.
A 4-seater was calling you, man.
That's why I said that's another story, because every time I say that, y'all keep telling me to get a 4-seater. It always means spend some more money, man.
Yeah.
But
man.
yeah, like Rube slingshot, crazy. Jose slingshot, Paco, all them dudes, like,
oh yeah,
the tuning.
Jose slingshot is another killer,
bro. I love Jose slingshot. I want to give Jose my phone sometime and just give him my playlist. Oh my, Jose will get right there, and I'll be rooting like, damn, I think Jose gonna take this one today. Then Jose, it's like he run out of ammo, and he just played something. I'll be like, where you get that from? Where you get that from? Like, yo, go get Rubio playlist and drop something on him. Jose slingshot is another phenomenal.
Yeah, that bike is definitely that slingshot monster. Definitely a monster.
What's that other dude? He came a long way too. James Henley.
Oh yeah, that bike is
yeah,
the red bike, the diamond bike.
That bike is nice.
Milan, the Diamond Audio did that. He another dude. I met him down Bagger Boys, I think 2 years ago, and he won the best of show. I picked that bike for best of show in the custom world. I believe he won best of show that day. Bike looked good. He played his system. I was like, We had that same conversation. I'm like, listen, bro.
Yeah, I remember. What was that? What was that last year you had before the audio, the grudge at Barb's? The cancer. It was the cancer ride.
That's when we did the cancer ride for Riley. It was the ride for Riley.
I don't know what happened, but he came up there and his bass was like, and then he turned his bike on. I turned my bike on. And you looked at him. I don't know what he went and told Diamond, but yeah, they turned that bike. That bike did a 180.
And look, shout out to Milan. Milan been in the game for a long time. Milan may have forgotten more than a lot of people know. I mean, clearly Sweet Pea. You know what I mean?
Right.
I know you like Sweet Pea.
I definitely like Sweet Pea.
Smitty.
Definitely. I'm a Miz guy. The mid and that thing is just phenomenal.
Yo, you are a mid guy. I was going to tell you, man. I know you got a secret speaker that you're using. Your mids are beating the heck out of them side pods. Like, and you got to be, listen, mids can go from being mids to mud. It's like a fine line between mids and mud. I don't like playing with that 250, 400 range.
I love
can
it.
Kick you. Yeah, you listen. You dance with the devil on those freaks. Them side pods sound like they're gonna fall off when that Pink Panther song hit.
Yeah.
Damn, he got them side pods hitting like little baby subs.
Yeah,
It's
but
crazy. If I told you where they were tuned to, you'd be like, "What?" Nothing crazy.
If I had to guess, I'll say you got them dropped down as low as, I think you got them at like 75. Higher?
Nowhere near. Much higher.
Higher or lower?
Much higher.
Much higher?
At 100.
Damn. 175?
I started them at about 175, and started playing with it.
Them shits hit hard for 175.
So the neighborhood just went bad.
Oh, yo, I think he heard us talking about him.
So listen, the show is only an hour, so I'm gonna give you the last 10 minutes, man. So everybody, we just got Ed Rock getting into the conversation. For those of you just tuning in, this is SOS Late Night Talk, Rhythm and Rods, and we are talking about tuning versus tweaking. What is your hashtag?
No tuning.
No tuning.
Need ND.
So we got
tuning.
Need tuning.
Need tuning.
So listen, we got an OG in the game. I ain't gonna say his age, but you see he got the beard. Brooklyn died up. So we got an OG. Ed Rock, tell everybody who you are, where you from, the name of your shop, and just talk to the people.
Pretty much. Ed Rock, that's it.
Where you from, Ed Rock?
From Brooklyn. Oh man, I just came from food shopping, so stressed out.
So tuning, right? Like, what do you think? Like a lot of people you talk to, a lot of the garage builders and guys who getting systems done, they pull their hair out when it comes to tuning. Like they get ready to rip everything out because they don't have a proper tune. What's your advice? What's your take on it all?
I mean, my first thing is I deal with the customer and what they listen to, the kind of music that they actually really listen to. A lot of people tune stuff for what they like, you know, what kind of music they listen to. And that's the main problem, you know, that I see, that shop owners or tuners, they tune for their liking. You know, like Gio, we had a guy and he was like, oh yeah, this guy is an old head, Spanish old head. Okay, shit. I put Spanish music, tuned to the old Spanish music, got it perfect for him. After that, I don't care what you play, you can play anything on that bike. That's the hardest thing to tune to, is a live Latin band with instruments and stuff. Once I get that dialed in perfect, that guy can play anything from hip hop to any kind of music and go up on the volume and walk away. You don't have to worry about nothing. You know, that's my thing. I mean, I just got back to New York and all I've been doing every night is running outside, tuning cars for people because, you know, everybody tunes to their liking, you know, not to what the customer likes. So, you know, for me, that's, you know, the main thing, the most important thing for me.
I agree with you on that. You have your, as a tuner, I think you have your basic songs that are going to get you in the ballpark, get you to your comfort zone or your capabilities, right?
Right. I have my specific songs that I choose when I tune a bike. If it plays those songs there, every note the way I like it, I pretty much, you can play anything on that bike.
Right. And then what I'll do is I'll say, okay, where's your playlist? Let me hear what you like. Give me some stuff that you like. And you run through them. And you may have to do some tweaking if you're predominantly playing this. What you tweak within that, but you're not going to be that far off from the songs that you have for your basic foundation of tuning, I don't think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
you know what I mean?
and it's also, you know, like I tell Gio, just because this bike sounded good with this tune doesn't mean the next bike is gonna sound that good with that tune. You know, sound staging plays a difference. You know, you have to learn to adjust, you know, and play, you know, like with Gio, I shut everything off. Let's do the 6s first, do the 8s, then do the 10s, then do the subs, and then put it all together. You know, and it's patience. You know, you gotta have patience. You know, a lot of people don't have that. You know, and a lot of people get their bikes built and right away it's done on a Friday and is at a show on Saturday. You know, I'd rather not take it to the show. You know, you need time with your bike. You need time to play your bike and find your right songs. I go to the shows and I tell everybody, oh, you play this song, it's gonna sound good on the bike. They don't believe me. They don't want to play it. No, I don't want to blow something. I'm like, guy, I heard your bike already. You could play this. Jay Gennaro's bike, good bike. Joey let me play with it, play music on it. I play songs on it. She sounded phenomenal. The stuff that he won't play, that he probably think maybe it won't sound good on the bike, but you know he wasn't there, and we was playing the shit out of it, and it sounded good.
Well, we lost Rick. I think we lost Rick.
No, I'm still here. I gotta
Oh,
plug the computer up. So y'all go ahead. Y'all keep it on.
I think we're losing everybody. Yo,
I just followed me to tune a bike. I mean, to tune a car. It's unbelievable. Nah, but
yo,
Smitty, your bike, your slingshot sound good. I can't take nothing away from that. And
yo,
confident too.
Smitty
That's
been,
what I like.
yeah. I think Smitty posting up that he sold a slingshot.
Are we good? Smith, you sold your slingshot?
Hello?
Oh, now he can't hear us.
Uh,
Maybe he froze up.
I think he
But
froze up.
you sold your slingshot, Smitty?
Yeah.
Now, I had a guy I met, and I won't say he follows the page, and I was hanging out with him down in um, and down in Maryland, and he was like kind of frustrated with the performance of his bags. So he didn't have a DSP there to go into the tune, and he turned it on, and he played. I'm gonna tell you, he played "Yearning for Your Love" by the Gap Band, right? And you know that one note that the guitar hit, it just carries out like crazy in the beginning, and then it ends with like with a real hard guitar riff, like ram. His bike did not play that note. That's like one of the most relevant notes in that song. Like if you had a show, as soon as they play, and they've been playing "Yearning for His Love," "Yearning for Your Love" since like 2015. That's like the song more than BJ. If I never hear it again in life, I'll be okay with it. That and Talk. But this one particular note was underneath all the other music. And that's like the part of the song that if you listen to that song, you're gonna play the air guitar to that song. Gio, there's songs that Spanish songs that I know when it play, you're hitting the cymbal the same time that the drummer is hitting it because there's just certain. If you don't hear that in the mix, you're looking like, nah, something's wrong. So we were able to go in the head unit. We couldn't pull it all the way up, but I went in the head unit. The head unit was solely flat. I'm like, listen, I'm gonna drop all of your frequencies all the way down to zero. I said, I just want you to listen to the bike. And I said this earlier, Edrock, I don't know if you heard it. I said, each of these band EQs have a job. Same with like on a DSP.
Mm-hmm.
You have to figure out how to marry all these frequencies together. Man, you were messing with all of them with the DSP. And I'm like, hey, Edrock, give me your opinion. Like, I know what I like, but I'm open to asking another respected tuner, what do you like? And your mid game is different from mine. But I got some, I said, oh, okay. You said try these crossover points. That's what has to happen when you're tuning. You can't always tune with just you. I
Yep.
think you should tune in pairs.
That's like with Gio. Gio got the phone in his hands, and I just asked her, "What you got that tuned to?" Okay, we got that to 150 to 7,500. Okay, let's bring it down to like 65, 6,000. And it's always good to have two people.
I mean, when you can, I get it. Like you get a customer, he call you, you got to tune, and it's just you and the bike or you in the car. Then you got to take care of business and do what you got to do. But understand this: you can't discount the customer or whoever stand there with you sometimes too. People may not know how to get on a computer or how to get on the EQ and slide the slides up and down. But we all know how to pat our feet, clap our hands, and we know what feel good. We know what
Right.
sound good. So your customer will be like, damn, like what I love is when you tune somebody's bike and they look at you like, and they so happy, like, yo, that's crazy. They look amazed, like, yo, like, and they smiling ear to ear, like I would have never thought that it could sound like that. And here it is, this person was ready to rip everything out and buy all this different stuff, and they would have been at the same place, untuned.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So listen, man, I think it was a great conversation. I think we, We touched on a lot of stuff. Any of you guys have anything to add, or tell you this? Do any of you guys have any words of advice? Starting with you, Gio, and we'll end with you, Ed Rock, that you guys can give people who started off like you and Smitty, trying to find a way, and then just went and perfected the craft. What's your advice, Gio? Then you, Smitty.
Hey man, patience, hard work, bro. It's gonna be hours of hard work. And one thing that I think has helped me throughout this time is taking constructive criticism the positive way, not negative. I don't take nothing negative when it's anything that has to do with my tuning. I take everything into consideration and I try it. It works, it works. If it don't work, it don't work. But I learn from everything. I learn from when I talk to you, when I talk to Edrock, even bro, it's times that I've spoken to Smitty. Like, we the input that you get from people it'll be shame on you if you don't take that and go back and learn from it. But I think, we all start as tweakers. And me personally, I think I'm gonna be I'm gonna be a tweaker. Always I'm gonna feel that way because when you feel and you're humble to say that you're a tweaker,
Yeah, I don't hear nothing.
you could
Yeah, I
reach
can't hear
levels.
him either.
Yeah, you could reach levels that it's gonna be, like incredible, like the big dogs, like the BYB, Joey with the BYB bikes, Andy with the Bagel Boys, and so forth.
All right, Smitty. Thanks, Gio. I appreciate that, Smitty. You got anything for the people before we sign off?
I mean, I really couldn't hear what Gio was saying, so I hope I don't, step on his toes.
Yeah, I
But
didn't hear a word of that.
and the most important thing you do, no matter if you're tuning it or you're tuning it for yourself or you're having somebody else tune it, like Ed Rock said, man, if you don't spend some time on your bike, there's no way you can expect to get in the ring on Saturday. You know what I mean? You just got your bike on Friday, bro. You got to spend some time really learning what works and what doesn't work, man. If nothing else, you got to spend some time to make sure you know where to stop. You know what I mean? And what your actual capabilities are of all the stuff you got. You can have the best of everything. If you don't know where to stop, you can hit that trigger. You pull that trigger a little too hard, and you like you said, your mid go to mud quick. So it's just spend some time with your bike, get intimate with it, and I can guarantee you 90% of the guys that you see that are great aren't just get my bike, finish my bike, button up, go compete. They spending hours and hours and hours. That mid base that I got on my bike, man, I probably have 100 hours and just tuning those tens that was on the side of my bike. You know what I mean? So just take some time, get to know your bike, get to know your product. Listen to your tuner. Listen to the guy that built it. They're telling you, hey, you might be pushing it. But at the end of the day, nobody's gonna get in that ring with you, but you're gonna be there by yourself. So if you don't know what's going on, how can you get in there really hit play confidently? Confidence comes with understanding. Confidence comes with knowing what.
Damn, he was about to break. He was about to give us one of those good old army breakdowns on confidence and understanding. Hopefully, Smitty will get back on. Ed Rock, you there? Or are you freezing up too, Ed Rock?
Ed Rock gone. He's back.
Ed Rock, you there?
I mean, I hear you, but I'm not coming up.
You know what you
me?
have to do, Ed Rock? There you go. Yep, I see you now. So what you gonna close with, Ed Rock?
I mean,
we may.
Can you hear me?
Yeah,
we can hear you. Yep. All right, Ed Rock is going. Ed Rock, if you can hear us, Ed Rock,
get on your bike.
Hey, listen, Ed Rock, if you can hear us, I'm gonna remove you.
Yeah, let's go.
Sign out of the link, and then come back in. All right. All right. So I'll wait for Ed Rock to come back in. But I will say in closing, my advice to whether you are a shop doing audio, whether you're a garage builder, a novice, or a professional, just remember there is always room to improve. Get with other tuners, go to shows, listen, have a conversation, and talk. from learning the art of tuning. We bust each other chops a lot, and we say tuning versus tweaking. I know a lot of people thought it was going to have a negative undertone, and I wanted to get everybody's attention. But tuning is a very, very intimidating part of motorcycle audio. And I'm going to tell you folks, it does not have to be if you just take your time. Guys, get in the garage, pull your DSP up, set the volume to a safe volume, and get to know those. I want you to go on a date with your EQ. That's what we date your EQ. Date those frequencies. See who likes hanging out with who. See who don't like hanging out with who. You know, some of your EQ like having a lot of fun. Some frequencies don't want to have as much fun as others. And if you can't get it right, or if you really want to go to the next level, when you're done playing and at least experimenting, you may experiment and say, you know what, man, I like this tuning, I get it, but I don't have the ear for it. I don't have the skill set as of yet. Go get a professional tuner. You got them. You got a handful of them. I ran off a list of guys that I respect in the game, from the Joey Hensleys, the Anderson Morgans, Bagger Boys, the Ed Rocks, the Gio is in his sophomore year. He's still learning, but he's got some good OGs around him, showing him what to do. You got Milan. You have Dorian Thomas. You got DK Electronics. You have, I know I'm gonna leave somebody out and they're gonna call and cuss me out. You got Troy Milner and some other guys. I see my man James with the purple bike, Black Eye Audio. I think it's Black James Green. You got the T-Funks. You have a lot of different knowledge, different levels of knowledge that you guys can get on the page and ask their opinion. It's like this though. Tuners are like restaurants. You may not like a Ricky Will tune, so you may have to go to Gio. You might like his recipe. You might like his dish a little better. You may like Ed Rock's dish. You might like Joey's dish. Get with the tuners. Go listen to stuff that they built. It's just and see if you like it, and ask them, "Hey man, did you tune this?" I don't think it's an insult to ask a builder nowadays, "Hey, did you guys tune this? Not did you build it? Did you tune it?" He may tell you, if you got a builder who's not doing this tuning, he may say, "Hey man, I'm just as green as you in this audio game. I could run your wires, I could fiberglass, I could make you a great enclosure, but I can't tune. I'm still learning. I have Gio come tune my stuff, or Joey comes in. I know Joey 1099 a lot of tunes. That's not saying that the shop that you've been dealing with is inadequate. They could probably get you in and get you wired up. You know what I mean? If they can get that part done, you got to go seek another tuner. Get it done. At the end result, you want to have a great install system and a great sound system by any means necessary. Period. Don't nobody want to spend a bunch of money on all this high equipment and you get it home and it sound piss poor. I ain't gonna tell you in the mean way that you sound piss poor, but if you ask me my opinion, Gio and the rest of these guys will tell you, I'm gonna let you know you shot right now. You gotta tighten up. So that's just my advice for you. Ask questions, man. Tuning is going to always be a hot topic because it's just so much that goes into it. I don't even want to dive into time alignment and all that. Listen, that's my new learn. Messing with this whole time alignment, time correction, and I happen to see I had a Alex Hayes tune downloaded in my Tweak 88. I went in there. The tune wasn't my recipe, but I liked his time alignment. I looked at the numbers and said, okay, let me play with these numbers and get it to work with my recipe. That was something that I saw in the DSP that he was good at. So we all can continuously learn from each other. So, that's just my advice to everybody. But listen, everyone, thanks for tuning in. Sorry, I want to keep you guys on for 60 minutes. We ran 10 minutes over. Make sure you guys are checking the page. We have a lot of different we got some shows coming up. October 24th is Gotham City Bike Fest, and Grinchmas Audio Superfest is December 18th and 19th in Orlando, Florida. Basically, COVID-19 stole Grudge Fest from us in North Carolina with all the regulations. So we got Grinchmas. No Grudge Fest this year. It's the Grinchmas Audio Fest. So make sure you guys look at the flyers. Once again, big shout out to all our sponsors: Sound Digital, Bama, Limit Lithium Batteries, S&T, Voodoo Bike Works, Ground Zero, the whole TMC network, all the shops within the network, and Pedestrian Services. I thank you all for tuning in. I hope you all learned something from it. Go back and watch it, share it up, and we'll catch you all next week. Gio, Cartel Baggers, thank you, bro. I appreciate you coming on. Ed Rock from High Tech Custom, Smitty from the Slingshot community. Thank you all. Everybody have a good night and be safe.
You too, man. Good night.